Coming out of college and going into WNBA, we as WNBA players were having basketball conversations, and everybody just took it to another place where we were attacked. Caitlin Clark, fresh out of college and fresh on the scene, received the announcement of her Rookie of the Year award during practice in the middle of a playoff game with zero fanfare, no balloons, no press conference, no celebration, just a routine, almost dismissive notification. To say it was a cold reception would be an understatement. It was as though the league wanted to downplay her achievements, to strip away the excitement that should have surrounded such a monumental moment.
Why?
I watched pretty much every single one of Caitlin's games early on because I am a fan, I do like good basketball, and of course I wanted to see how she would do it. Because Caitlin Clark wasn't just good, she was too good, and she was threatening to overshadow everything the WNBA had carefully built. I watched Caitlin Clark from the very beginning. As a fan of the game, I knew she had something special. Her talent was undeniable, her scoring ability was off the charts, and the way she carried herself on and off the court, confident, unapologetic, and fierce, was unlike anything we'd seen in the WNBA in years. Actually, we talked about this before, the fan that went hard at Caitlin at the Connecticut Sun game in Game 1. This wasn't just another player. Caitlin Clark was changing the narrative of women's basketball, drawing attention from all corners of the sports world. But what happened next was nothing short of a scandal. When Sue Bird, one of the most respected voices in women's basketball, opened up on her podcast, she unknowingly set off a bombshell. In what seemed like a casual conversation about basketball culture, Bird exposed the WNBA's darkest secret, one that could shake the foundation of the entire league. This wasn't just about Caitlin Clark's talent. This was about something far deeper, darker, and far more sinister. It turns out that behind closed doors, the WNBA's leadership had crafted a plan to put Caitlin Clark in her place, where there was an interaction where the fan almost got ejected. It's like, none of this is okay. And we never accept it. We never accept this. Yes, you heard that right. The league, desperate to maintain its carefully curated narrative of collective growth, felt threatened by Clark's explosive rise. And rather than celebrate her, they attempted to suppress her. The technical fouls, the racial undertones in the media, the blatant targeting of Clark's every move. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a deliberate strategy, a premeditated effort to break her down and keep her from stealing the spotlight. But why would they do this? Why would the WNBA's brass? Why is it okay in our league? Why is it? Oh, welcome to mean, including Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, target one of the league's brightest stars. Because Caitlin Clark was doing something the WNBA couldn't control. She was taking the league mainstream. She was attracting fans from all over the country, driving up TV ratings and increasing ticket sales. In short, Caitlin Clark was the WNBA's golden ticket to relevance, and they couldn't handle it. It wasn't just the cold reception of her Rookie of the Year award that was troubling. It was the way she was being treated on the court. This wasn't a surprise. And not just the comments that the commission, Caitlin Clark, a player who had done more for the WNBA than any rookie in recent memory, was being hit with unfair officiating. Remember the moment she was given a technical foul for lightly hitting the backboard in frustration after missing a shot? The ref called it disrespectful to the game. Disrespectful. Really? Meanwhile, WNBA legends like Diana Taurasi, who have committed far more egregious offenses on the court, rarely received such treatment. This wasn't just bad officiating. It was a blatant attempt to single out Clark and put her in a box. But it wasn't just the refs. There was also the fan interaction during the Connecticut Sun game, where a fan went off on Clark and the league did nothing to protect her. Instead of supporting their rising star, they let the situation escalate, showing once again that Clark was being treated differently. Was it jealousy? Was it fear? Or was it something worse? Let's talk about the person at the heart of this mess. A few weeks ago, where she basically implied that the racial tension is good for business, and invoking Magic and Bird. Cathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner. Engelbert has long been hailed as a champion of diversity and inclusion. But her actions and her words tell a different story. When she casually mentioned in an interview that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, two players who had captured the nation's attention, could form the next big rivalry in the league. In a shocking twist, Sue Bird, one of the most respected veterans in the WNBA, made comments on her podcast that seemed to subtly undermine Caitlin Clark's incredible rookie season. Bird, who has built her legendary career on being a team player, spoke about the collective effort that the WNBA's success hinges on. On the surface, these remarks seemed innocuous, but a deeper dive revealed a troubling undertone. Bird seemed to downplay the importance of individual performances, particularly Clark's. Bird's statement could have easily been seen as an attempt to embrace the team-oriented culture of the league, but many fans and analysts took it as a deliberate attempt to diminish the significance of Caitlin Clark's record-breaking achievements. Clark's rookie season was nothing short of extraordinary, as she not only made waves on the court, but also brought a level of excitement and attention to the league that had previously been absent. It's not good for her, and sort of sidestepped the question about racism. She shattered records, lit up the scoreboard, and captured the hearts of fans everywhere. So, why should such a standout performance be downplayed in favor of a broader, less exciting narrative of collective success? Bird's comments sent a clear message. Why celebrate one player when you can promote the narrative of collective growth? While promoting teamwork and unity is important in any league, it becomes problematic when it stifles the recognition of a player who has brought an undeniable surge of popularity to the WNBA. Caitlin Clark wasn't just another player who happened to be part of the team. She was the player who transformed the league's visibility. Without her meteoric rise, the WNBA wouldn't be experiencing the heightened interest it currently enjoys. The rookie's explosive style of play and larger-than-life persona brought in new fans, generated buzz across social media, and turned the spotlight on a league that had long been overlooked. If you liked the video, then give a like to the video and also subscribe to the channel. Overshadowed by its male counterparts, Bird's comments only fueled the perception that WNBA leadership, including her own, was more focused on controlling the narrative than on genuinely celebrating its stars. Instead of acknowledging Clark's contributions, the league seemed intent on keeping her spotlight dimmed. This wasn't a singular issue caused by Bird alone. This appeared to be a larger, systemic problem within the WNBA. The organization seemed more concerned with preserving the status quo and downplaying the significance of Clark's rise, rather than capitalizing on the incredible energy and excitement she brought to the game. This became even clearer when looking at how Clark was treated by the league at the height of her breakout season. Instead of putting her front and center as the face of the league, they seemed almost reluctant to embrace her success. Bird's comments served as a reminder that the league wasn't focused on celebrating the players who were driving the sport forward, but rather on preserving the old guard's dominance. Now, let's step back and reflect on the irony of the WNBA's response to Caitlin Clark's rise. The league markets itself as a progressive institution, one that stands for diversity, inclusion, and empowerment. The WNBA has built its identity on being an inclusive space for women's sports, a champion for athletes of all backgrounds. But the treatment of Caitlin Clark, especially in light of Bird's comments, raises questions about how far that inclusivity truly stretches. Instead of fostering an environment that celebrates young talent like Clark, the league appeared more concerned with maintaining control over the narrative and protecting its existing structure. It is baffling why the WNBA, which desperately needs fresh talent and excitement to grow, would go out of its way to suppress a player who is carrying the league to new heights. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a breath of fresh air. She was the gust of wind that could propel the WNBA into a new era of relevance and popularity. And yet, despite all her accomplishments, Clark was met with resistance at every turn. The league failed to fully embrace her rise, even when it was clear that her success was exactly what the WNBA needed. It was as though they were trying to keep her in check, as if her meteoric ascent was somehow a threat to the established order. This not only stifled her potential, but also prevented the league from truly capitalizing on the wave of excitement she generated. To make matters worse, Clark and her peer Angel Reese both became the targets of racist and sexist attacks, both online and at games. Rather than addressing these issues head-on, the WNBA, under Cathy Engelbert's leadership, chose to exploit the rivalry between the two players as a marketing tool. By framing their interactions as the next great rivalry in women's sports, the league only served to amplify existing tensions, further dividing fans and fueling animosity between two of the brightest stars in the game. Instead of fostering a supportive and inclusive environment, the WNBA seemed more interested in sensationalizing controversy for the sake of headlines. In doing so, they forgot the most basic rule of sports. It's about the players. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. Without them, there is no league, no audience, and no future. By allowing the narrative to be shaped by marketing gimmicks rather than focusing on the players who are the heartbeat of the league, the WNBA alienated its fan base and undermined the very essence of what the league should stand for. As Caitlin Clark continues to break records and captivate audiences with her electrifying play, the WNBA faces a critical juncture. The league has failed to fully embrace her rise and capitalize on the excitement she brings. Instead of promoting her as the face of the league, the WNBA's leadership has struggled to recognize the magnitude of what Clark represents. She is the future of women's basketball. The WNBA and the league office and Kathy's role specifically are to protect and shepherd. Yet the league seems hesitant to acknowledge that. The question now is, will the WNBA choose to embrace the future and allow Caitlin Clark to continue to shine? Or will they let jealousy and fear cloud their judgment, dragging the league back into the shadows? Caitlin Clark is the future of women's basketball, whether the league likes it or not. If the WNBA continues to suppress its brightest stars in favor of a narrative of collective growth, it risks losing the momentum that players like Caitlin Clark bring. The league's leadership must come to terms with the fact that the future of the WNBA lies in the hands of its players, the ones who have the talent, the charisma, and the drive to elevate the sport to new heights. If the league fails to celebrate and promote its stars, it will ultimately be doing itself a disservice, stunting its growth, and alienating the next generation of fans who are looking for the next big thing in sports. Caitlin Clark has already proven that she is more than capable of carrying the weight of the WNBA on her shoulders. The real question now is whether the league will allow her to do so, or if they will continue to fight against her rise. Whatever happens, one thing is crystal clear. Caitlin Clark is a force to be reckoned with, and the WNBA would be wise to recognize that. If you like the video, then give a like to the video and also subscribe to the channel. Thanks you.